fucking scoot back a little so I guess so I don't punch the microphone.
Hey, come listen to our podcast, yeah. Please listen, it's a hitch. If you don't listen to our podcast, yeah, then you are a bitch.
Maybe that one.
Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of Filmoscopy Podcast. Joining me, as always, is Lance. And Owen.
Oh.
So we're going to pick up our conversation from before we started recording, where we were about to start talking about Madam Web. Before we get
Hold on a
into...
second. Before we get to Madam Web, though. But that black Spider-Man costume that, that's in the game, I'm assuming they have multiple of them. Let me ask you about Spider-Man 2, because we were talking about that. Do they have the Captain Universe Spider-Man costume in it?
Oh, no, I don't think they did.
Okay, did they have it in the first Spider-Man game? The 2019 Spider-Man for PS5.
Maybe, hold on. I think I know. Is that the one that's like blue up top and it kind of like turns to white at the bottom?
Yeah, it's kind of like a blue to silver to white, and his mask kind of looks like Imperfect Cell's beak. It's kind of got that orangish thing on his face.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, if it was in. All right, hold on. I'm actually looking it up
it was in
because
Web
I
of
can't.
Shadows, I think, because I was looking this up too. I just couldn't remember if it was in the new one. There's, real quick, while Cody's looking this up, there's a game that came out in 2000 called Spider-Man for PlayStation 1. Now, if you had the PlayStation version of the game, you got animated with in-game models, cutscenes of the characters, which was cool. I mean, they're all janky as hell if you watch it now, but it's a great fucking game.
Isn't that the one where, like, if it has, like, a fail game over screen, he's, like, walking, he looks real sad, and, like, shit's, like, blowing up all around him and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
No, that's a different one.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's Web of Shadows that you're thinking of.
Okay, gotcha. I really love that shit.
Yeah.
It's so funny looking.
Yeah.
But for that game, there was a cheat code you could put in that would unlock everything for you before you started the game. So it was Aunt May backwards. So you just typed in YAMTUNA, and it would unlock all the comic books for you. Like you had collected everything. So you could pick all the costumes. Well, I mean, I love the symbiote Spider-Man costume. That has unlimited webbing. You didn't have to worry about webbing at that point. But he got hurt. Captain Universe is like the biggest cheat code in that game because it has unlimited webbing and it's invincible. They can just beat on you all fucking day and you will not get hurt. The only thing that it doesn't protect you from, because I tried it, is the final villain. And that costume, like, you go around, you can collect Spider-Man armor. And it's the thing, he's kind of like, it's like the Spider-Man costume, but where it's red, it's all gray and with black spider lines on it, and then the rest is black. It's kind of like if, Spider-Man was like Bruce Wayne. But if you collect that, that doesn't lose health either, so you can be armored Spider-Man for the rest of the game. It's pretty fucking cool. So I used to do that, so I'd get Captain Universe, and it's just some cosmic entity that, kind of like a symbiote, I guess, just kind of chooses Peter and either bonds to him or possesses him or some shit like that.
Yeah, so the Captain Universe costume is not in either one. I didn't think it was because I couldn't remember seeing it, but it says the last game it was in was Edge of Time.
Okay. Like I said, it's kind of ugly. Like I said, it almost looks like if you look at the face, like the mask of it, it looks like Imperfect Cell to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, because it has like that orange spot on his mouth, like you said, like Cell's beak or something.
What's the costume? Captain something?
Captain Universe Spider-Man.
Okay. Captain Planet.
And it's almost like
he's
his eyes on his eyes on his mask almost have like a weird venom pupil, like the thing that kind of dips into it almost.
It kind of is like that. You're right. It's like Perfect Cell.
Yeah. It's like, it's so fucking weird, and it's just really cool. So that costume I was just kind of thinking about, but like, so, and it's just so funny because you got Venom in the Tom Hardy movies, which Look, Sony's made those movies. This Venom Lethal Protector game, I'm hoping has Eddie Brock as Venom. You have to believe they're going to put in a Tom Hardy costume for the game. It
Yeah.
has
So
to be.
do you want me to tell you the setup because they do tease. Okay, I'm gonna. This is spoilers for Spider-Man 2 on PS5.
Well, I
for
read
anybody
up
who
like the
cares.
plot synopsis. They didn't mention Eddie Brock at all, though.
No. So here's what I was gonna say. So Harry is Venom, right?
You know, Venom.
And Venom,
That-
Venom,
that's
Venom,
an ultimate-
and
That's an ultimate Spider-Man thing they took from the cartoon that ran from like 2012 to 2017. I fucking hate that idea.
yeah. So Harry is Venom. At one point they destroy the symbiote that's on Harry, right? Like you don't see any of it crawling away, nothing. And I think Harry ends up dying because he's like terminally ill or whatever, which is why Norman puts the symbiote on him to begin with because he hopes that the symbiote will heal
Well,
him.
I know
Which it does as long as it's
Peter
on him.
and becomes Black Spider-Man, but that piece goes back to Harry and he becomes Venom again.
Yeah. So what happens is Harry has the symbiote, but he's more like Agent Venom in the beginning because he learns that Peter is Spider-Man and he wants to help Peter. So like his look is very Agent Venom,
which is
combat
Flash Thompson
pants.
in the comics.
Yeah. So and then there's a point where Craven mortally wounds Peter, and to save him, he gives him the symbiote until he can they can heal him and he can get the symbiote back to Harry. Well, then the symbiote doesn't want to leave Peter because as typically as it is with the symbiote stories, Peter's been having a lot of self-doubt, a lot of problems in his personal life, yada yada. So the symbiote kind of like feeds off of it, right? So it won't leave Peter. Harry starts becoming even more sick. Eventually, Peter is able to get the symbiote off of him thanks to Miles, and they trap it, and they're going to take it to Dr. Connors so that they can get rid of it or contain it or something. And Harry intercepts the pass and runs it back for a 99-yard touchdown. He intercepts the delivery at some point and takes it back, and then at that point he's actually Venom. And of course, he's kind of like angry and all that because he's dying, obviously, because the symbiote wasn't with him anymore. At the end, Peter and Miles destroy the symbiote, and like I said, I think they confirm that Harry dies at the end. Because he doesn't have the symbiote anymore. And of course, Norman becomes like very upset, and they tease Green Goblin for the next one and the Sinister Six because he goes and like talks to Doc Ock and talks about breaking him out of the raft. Anyway, the symbiote stuff.
For what I remember, when I was reading on it, I think he's going because Doc Ock knows Peter's secret identity, and he won't reveal it to Norman. He just tells Norman,
yeah,
he's miserable or some shit.
Yeah, he asks him something like, or he says something along the lines of, I heard that you know the identity of Spider-Man or something, because he blames Spider-Man for Harry dying, which really doesn't make any sense because it's like you literally watched your son wreak havoc across the city with the symbiote, so the symbiote was bad for him.
Yeah, it's actually look, the Wikipedia says Harry was comatose, and then at the end,
maybe they put him back in like a containment chamber or something again. I don't know, and they're gonna try and maybe find another way to cure him. Outside of the symbiote. So, but that's in the main story, that's the end of the symbiote stuff, right? They destroy the symbiote that's on Harry. But there's a side story that deals with this group called like the Fire or the Flame or something like that. And the leader, who is known as the Flame, if I remember right, the Great Flame or the Flame or something like that, it's Cletus Cassidy. And the whole point of what they're doing is there's a second symbiote that's being transported, and he steals it. So that's at the end of the story with Cletus. It reveals the whole thing at the end. It's like, yeah, he goes by many aliases, and they throw Cletus Cassidy in there as one of his aliases. And he's gotten away with his symbiote. So that's setting up...
the color of it, I'm assuming it's a red symbiote?
No, it's black. That's the thing. Is like that's why I think that they're setting up Eddie Brock being Venom in the future, because it's
Like,
not going to
let
go
me
back
ask
to
you this.
Harry.
Have they
Yeah.
established Flash Thompson as a character?
No, they haven't.
Okay. So I have an equal chance of either Eddie Brock or Flash Thompson. I mean, I want it to be Eddie
Yeah,
Brock because it feels like it's going to be Venom versus
and
Carnage in the game.
yeah, I don't think that they're going to do. I don't think that they're going to do Flash, because I think the developers, I think, wanted to do Harry because it's like, oh, this is kind of like a swerve on fans' expectations, you know.
Mhm.
But they also ended it in a way that it's like, okay, now is a good excuse for us to actually give it to Eddie, which is what a lot of fans want anyway.
Yeah. The one
So
thing, like, I know people love, like, most people do not care who's underneath the Venom suit. Like I said, most people doesn't care who's underneath Scorpion suit. Or, I guess some people don't care who's underneath Michael Myers' mask. But it's kind of like, it's like, man, just like, instead of like, why don't you write a good story for Eddie Brock and quit acting like, oh, it just can't be done. Everything's been done with Eddie Brock. We just can't do anything new.
yeah,
We can do something new with somebody else.
I don't think that's the reasoning here. I think it was literally just fans are going to expect Eddie Brock, so let's do something that fans don't really expect with it.
Well, I thought it was funny, like
Because
the first question they asked when they revealed it with that little panel, the
yeah,
display for the PlayStation Showcase, I guess 2 years ago or a year ago, or 2 years ago,
yeah,
I
where
guess.
is it Eddie Brock? And they said no. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude, like people like we want the traditional versions of the character told in great ways.
Well, again, that's why I'm saying they left the end of the story in Spider-Man 2 is open for them to give it to Eddie now.
Yeah,
And
but
obviously,
I know, and they had one little side note of Eddie Brock in the first game. I know for a fact because it's like I remember you said like there was something like a newspaper article you see is by Eddie Brock or some shit
yes,
like that.
yeah, something like that. 'Cause I think you could collect newspapers or something as one of the collectibles. But this Venom Lethal Protector thing, some people are like, well, is it going to take place during when Harry was Venom? It's like, it can't, because for one, he wasn't really a lethal protector. He was just fucking killing people. And
He was
for
just
two,
lethal.
yeah, he was just lethal. And for two, he was like the time frame that he was actually Venom wasn't very long, so it wouldn't make sense for them to like make this whole like other game that takes place within like a couple of days. So I do think that they're going to give it to Eddie. Now there is a chance they do give it to Flash, but I think that they're going to probably do what the fans want with it now, and then Eddie will probably keep it for Spider-Man 3, and I'm assuming that Carnage it would be one of the villains for Spider-Man 3, because I don't, unless they do that one for Lethal Protector, but I don't know.
It's like with Venom, like Cletus Cassidy runs off of that other symbiote. How do we not know if that's just a piece of the original Venom symbiote?
Yeah, I mean it could be, but
that's what I'm kind of.
I think
like.
It.
That's the way I look at it. It's like it has to be that because Venom already has a distinct personality. You can't just give another black symbiote completely separate to Eddie Brock. Yeah. It has to be like some piece of it.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, it could be. I don't know how
Cassidy's
early
obviously
you can
going to end up with the red symbiote.
Yeah, I don't know how early you can actually complete that side quest in the game. So I'm not really sure if it conflicts with, because I didn't finish it until after the story was over, but I know there were missions for it available before the story was over. So I'm not entirely sure how soon you can finish it in relation to, Venom being defeated at the end.
How did Cletus Cassidy look in the game? Did he look pretty badass?
I mean, he looked like I mean, it's hard to explain. He looked like Psycho, I guess. Like, he's kind of thin. He has his red hair,
Does he look like a red-headed version of the Joker without makeup?
No, he's not like over-exaggerated or anything like that.
Okay. Because that's when they created Cletus Cassidy for the comic books, they literally based him off the Joker. Like, that's who the creators of Carnage said, like, yeah, we just kind of looked at the Joker and made him into a human. Like, for us,
you also have to understand that with the side story, a lot of it was, like, they didn't reveal to you who it was. You didn't even see his face for a good portion of it. Because all you knew is, like, he was this cult leader for this group that used like fire as like this, like, you know, they worshipped the flame and all that kind of stuff. So talked about prophecies and all that. So
He's kind of like
which
a high rolling arsonist.
yeah, I mean his whole like point was like he had foreseen or whatever that he would obtain the symbiote and it would help achieve their goal or whatever. Of he has like some goal of like completely taking over the planet or some shit. I can't remember exactly now, but
So, real quick question too before we jump into Madam Web. Now, is PlayStation working on the PS6 now?
I mean, probably. Typically, once the new consoles come out, they start at least like the early R&D part of things. Like consoles definitely aren't something that they like come up with in like 2 years and put out to market. Like it takes a while.
I mean,
I don't
figure
know.
like if a PS6 comes out, they would be able. It would have to like be able to play PS5 games. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I think they've learned. I think they've learned from the past with that, like how bad it is optically for, you know, when the PS4 came out and you couldn't play like anything from the past generations. And like, I mean, the PS4 still sold like crazy, but you know, it's just like one of those things. Like, man, people were disappointed but they fucked up with the PS3 and all that because they put like completely different architecture in there, so it makes it like a giant pain in the ass for those discs to work or run on the consoles that they use now. So, but yeah, I think they've learned. PS6 will probably come out and be able to play all the other stuff.
I hope so too, because if the PS6 comes out, and like I say, if I'm still waiting for like another game in the future, like the next Mortal Kombat game or something I want to play, I'll probably just end up selling back this PS5 for some money and then putting it towards a PS6. I won't keep this one like I've kept everything else.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, so speaking of the Black Spider Woman with a gifted chest, Julia Carpenter with Sydney Sweeney playing her, Madam Web, and evidently Cody has watched Madam Web.
Yes. I watched it. They put it on Netflix. It's fucking horrible. It sucks. Like,
what's so bad about it? I don't even know anything about it.
It is so fucking boring. Like, okay.
Is it Morbius boring?
For one, the movie's boring. Like, the plot is boring. The villain is boring. Fucking Dakota Johnson does not, like, she just seems like she does not give two shits that she's leading this fucking movie. I like the three Spider Women that are in it. But it's like you go through most of the movie and they're not even Spider Women. Like the whole, like, you know how in the trailer you see shots of them in their costumes and stuff, right? And so it's because the main villain is having dreams that show like he can see into the future, like he can see visions or whatever of the future. And in these dreams, he's being.
I hear voices in my head.
I hear voices. Yeah, he is basically being killed by the three Spider Women in the future, right? So in his dreams, they're like in their late 20s or something, maybe early 30s. But in reality, in like the modern day, they are teenagers in high school. So, and they don't have their powers or anything. So you like the only time you really see them in their costumes or whatever is like when you see like the future version of them, and it's like, I guess I zoned out because I don't even remember how the fuck it ends. This movie ends, but the villain just like they did this whole thing where like they capture this spider, right? Because apparently there's like this tribe, or these villagers or whatever in South America that. There's this specific spider that its venom grants them things like speed and the ability to climb, basically Spider-Man powers. And so like Dakota Johnson's mom is in the South America looking for this spider, and she's with this guy who's also helping her look, but then he ends up like killing everybody once they find it because he steals it for himself. That's the bad guy. Dakota Johnson plays an EMT who she lives in New York City, of course, because it's a fucking Marvel movie and everything has to take place in New York City. And I don't know why, by the way, but whatever. Spider-Man's New York City. Okay, I get it. Her like partner with the EMT is named Ben. Ben what, you might ask? Ben Parker. Okay, cool. And then it's like later on, it's like, well, hey, Mary's birthday party is this weekend. You need to come by. Okay, cool. Well, guess what? Mary's pregnant, and her husband Richard is out of town. Can you guess what their last names are? Parker.
Brock. Damn it. Okay.
And guess what? Guess who she's pregnant with? Peter.
Eddie Brock. Oh, yeah.
So it's
yeah,
like
I read all that. And
it's one of those
Dakota
things.
Johnson,
it's one of those.
She becomes blind and has Bret Hart sunglasses, right?
Yeah. At the end, she gets blinded in the final confrontation or whatever with the bad guy, and basically she kind of becomes the ringleader for the 3 Spider Women. And they kind of you see them in their costumes again at the very end, if I remember right. And she's wearing more of what Madame Web traditionally wears.
And then you hear
and
that.
It's
we gotta put the Bret Hart music in that part. Make sure I
then it plays. And then it plays. Ain't never a hero to save us.
So now that you've got that out of the way. Now, hopefully, Craven is going to be a better movie. I want to give Craven a chance. It's been delayed until December.
I hope so. I just want Sony to we kind of go to the mat for Sony, right? But
we went to the mat with Warner Brothers. We got counted out. Well, you put up a decent fight, and then you end up putting your Twitter account on private, so you just end up getting pinned. I squilled in the first ankle lock he put me in, so I was like, "It's over. It's fucking over." So I gotta tell you guys this. So hopefully Craven's a good movie. I went to bat for Morbius. It's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. It's kind of an average movie, kind of boring, but I thought him looking as Morbius looked fucking awesome. I love it. It was different. It was very Batman Begins. They use a lot of imagery like that. Well, someone leaked the plot of Venom 3. That's coming out in October this year.
I don't want to know. I saw that today. I saw it was posted, and I was like, I don't want to.
Well, let me just say
I'm assuming I already heard about the Peter Parker thing.
Yeah.
And it's
so it's not the Peter Parker we want.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
But I hope, because ultimately they're still doing a Spider-Man 4, and everybody's got these fucking hard-ons, be Sam Raimi's gonna do it. It's gonna be great. And I'm like, look, fucking keep Sam Raimi away from Spider-Man. We did it 20 years ago. It's over. Do not bring him back to do another Spider-Man, because it's not gonna be. Everybody's doing this nostalgia thing because that's who they grew up with, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, it's Sam Raimi's got to direct the next Avengers movie anyway.
Oh God. Just fucking keep him away. Look, the last Marvel movie I watched, and eventually I'm going to get into a craze where I'm like, okay, all this shit's on Disney. I ain't got to go watch it in the theaters. I'm going to try to catch up from where I left off at. I watched Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Love it.
Like most Sam Raimi shit that I've watched, it had that fucking twisting around camera shit to make you feel disoriented. And it had a fucking shock ending that was resolved the next bonus scene we got. It was done. It was the most rushed bullshit. Everybody sat there and gave Venom so much shit for being rushed. Holy shit. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was rushed. And it didn't even do anything. So
I like that movie.
For me,
but, that's me. So
that's you. But like I said, that third eye that he had on his fucking, he's a Triclops now. And the movie ends. And then the bonus scene, fucking Furiosa shows up, because I don't know her real fucking name. And she's like, I need your help. And he goes, okay. And the third eye opens up, and he gets a little boner, and he's like, let's do it. Wait a minute, that was already fucking resolved? Shouldn't you left that for the next fucking movie? And here's the best thing. Chick.
The third eye opens up, and it blinks, and it goes, quick, quick.
And that character, which I'm sure they'll get into, She's either the niece or the daughter of Dormammu. So, and that's the
Dormammu.
dimension she's taking him into. Like when
Hmm.
they open up the thing, he has to go in there. I think I like Dormammu. Dormammu looked fucking awesome. I love the first Doctor Strange movie, but
Dormammu.
I'm
I've
hoping
come
they
to
throw enough
bargain.
money. This is going to be
I've
the
come to
last Venom
bargain.
movie. This is going to be the last Venom movie, according to the Sony president.
Yeah, I
So
saw
Tom
that
Hardy
too.
is probably done. But I'm hoping when they have that big mega crossover and they do their own Secret Wars, I get something where Venom has the white Spider-Man logo on his chest. Like he gets that piece back from Peter Parker, the Tom Holland Peter Parker. They have some kind of moment together, and then he can get sucked back to his universe. Because here's the thing: that having the two bonus scenes in Venom: Let There Be Carnage and Spider-Man: No Way Home, where Tom Hardy was in those movies with like the same universe, that was a victory for Sony because everybody hated on Sony. Like, oh, these movies are not gonna be successful. They fucking applauded the downfall. I had this argument with some dumbass in this thread because people were like, this. So they were covering the Venom like movies, like, oh, this Venom movie's gonna be trash, and they're like, yeah. I said the first Venom movie made $850 million. The second one made $500 million. This is a Spider-Man villain in his two solo movies. Just grossed $1.3 billion in his two movies. I think that's pretty successful. And they're like, yeah, but Morbius only made like
Yeah,
a
we're not
hundred
talking about
something million.
Morbius though. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know, dude. Like,
No,
I
no.
feel
Here's
like
the thing. Like,
Sony's Spider-Man stuff is kind of crumbling around them, especially because you had Morbius that it did flop, and you had Madam
they
Web,
still
which
made money on it
greatly
though.
flopped. Well, they didn't make money on
Morbius.
Madam Web for sure.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing though, and here's not like their investment for these movies are $100 million. Like the Morbius movie
Hmm.
had $60 to $70 million. It made $160 million. So if you just times that by two,
Yeah,
it probably made its money back. But here's the thing though, Venom made $800 million. So that movie
yeah,
alone paid for all these movies and still made money. Like anything they
yeah.
made off the top of it. And what I was arguing with somebody before, he was like, "Well, Morbius lost money, and so did Madam Web and all that. And like Venom 2 made less money than the first Venom. It's not gonna mean the third one's gonna be successful." I'm like, dude, domestically, Venom 2 made like $2 or $3 million more than Venom 1 did domestically. The only thing Venom
Yeah,
2 was missing was
it was
China
the
money
Chinese
because
market. Yeah,
yeah, Chinese market, they banned all those movies coming in. Now, I know Spider-Man No Way Home made 2 point whatever billion dollars without the China market. That's Spider-Man though, with all the Spider-Man, all the nostalgia that was wrapped up in that movie.
did
And
they
Venom
ban the
2,
movies, or because of COVID, and they weren't? They
no, no,
still
no,
didn't have movie theaters open.
no, they banned it was against U.S. embargo.
Oh,
So yeah, they were banning all that shit. So Venom did not get any of the Chinese money, and Venom made at least $350 million in China alone with the first Venom. So if they would have had that, they would have made probably around $900 million with the second Venom movie, and still like been successful. So domestically in the states and Canada, it made the same amount of money as the first Venom movie, even like $2 or $3 million more. So it's going to be successful, especially if it's in the China market. Everybody likes the Venom movies. Like when they go see it, they have a good time. No, it's not the fucking Dark Knight or the Batman, but it's
yeah.
a fun time. And I go back and rewatch those movies. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, the first Venom movie, I like it. Not gonna lie, kind of skipped to the part he becomes Venom. Then I watched the whole movie. Like the first half is kind of boring to me. Then I watched Venom: Let There Be Carnage. I'm like, yeah, it's fun because the Venom symbiote's everywhere. Like you don't have to skip anything. It's like going back and watch the Godzilla movie where he's only in it for like 20 minutes and it's a 2 hour movie. It's like, look, I don't fucking care about
Talking about
Bryan
the
Cranston.
2014 one or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, dude, everybody who's like just watches these movies in general, that's the worst one because there's no fucking monsters in it. You know, you're
yeah.
not going to a Venom movie expecting like the intricacies you got with the Batman. And let me tell you something, buddy. I would much rather watch the Batman, and I do not like the Batman like as much as Cody does. I would much rather watch the Batman versus Spider-Man No Way Home. I've watched that movie 3 times. There's nothing for me to go back to. The substance wise, there's just not a lot to it. It's for the surprises. Once you watch the surprises, it's like, nah, this is okay. I mean, it's not great. It doesn't hit you in the feels anymore like it used to. The only thing that saves that fucking movie, and I will tell you this, and I was talking about this some at my work. Andrew Garfield is the best actor to play Spider-Man. He portrays the best emotions. The best two things that came out of Spider-Man No Way Home was Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man getting the appraisal that he deserves, and William Dafoe is the Green Goblin again.
Mm-hmm.
He smoked every fucking Marvel villain that they have had in the 23 movies before that. He fucking smoked it, and he was only in half the movie.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Like, he's fucking awesome, dude. I swear. Like, he was born to play that role. I mean, it's like Heath Ledger playing the Joker. Obviously, that was kind of like out of left field. But William Dafoe is just like, he can play serious. He can play campy. The dude's fucking great. Like, he truly is, like, fucking great.
Can't wait to see him in Nosferatu this year.
Dude, I can't wait till Nosferatu comes out and still make less money than Morbius, and I can talk about that. Just to have fucking fun with it. Like, I'm just,
Speaking of money, let's talk about Mars Attacks.
Yeah, I wish I had my $4 back from renting this piece of shit.
Yeah.
So
I wish I had spent $4 finding a VHS tape of this movie, because it would have looked better than the fucking high definition I saw it in.
Yeah, that CGI did not age well, did it?
No, the CGI
Dude, they fucking
is
enhanced that CGI. It was fucking terrible. Like, holy shit. There's one thing about this movie that I enjoyed, and you saw her in every scene that Jim Brown was in, and that was it. Like, she was I paused the movie for her. And obviously, so did fucking the director. What's his name? What's his dipshit guy's
Tim Burton.
name again? Tim Burton. He obviously felt the same way, because this bitch didn't say anything until 10 minutes left in the movie. Like, all you saw was her chest bouncing, and he's like, yep, she's going to be in every shot.
Wait, who? The Cleopatra lady?
Fucking that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point. There's no reason for her to have survived, and for her to be in every shot and you to see her tits. But Tim shit in there. He knew what.
He's like,
So let me give it the breakdown real quick.
Lord, hold on, my computer.
So Mars
Attacks. My PlayStation controller for some reason. Okay, go ahead. My bad. I never had that happen.
Mars Attacks.
Fuck it is.
Mars Attacks is directed by Tim Burton. The screenplay is by Jonathan Gems and Tim Burton. It's based on a 1962 card game by the same name. It's not really card game. It's collectible cards that just depict various scenes of like these Martians murdering various people and animals in different scenarios. The movie released on December 13th, 1996. It had a runtime of 106 minutes, a budget of $80 million, and it was considered a failure because it only brought in a box office of $101.4 million. So I'm gonna run through this cast. Yeah, so the cast is like full of like a bunch of like big name actors. Some of them weren't really big name at the time, but they became big later on. But I'll run it down. Jack Nicholson plays two characters. He plays the U.S. President, James Dale, and Art Land, who is the Galaxy Casino owner. Glenn Close is First Lady Marcia Dale. Annette Bening is Barbara Land, Art's wife. Pierce Brosnan plays Professor Donald Kessler. Danny DeVito shows up as a gambler in the casino later on. He shows up. I don't think he shows up until like the attack is happening, and like they're trying to leave the casino to go like find a plane or whatever. Martin Short is the White House press secretary. Sarah Jessica Parker is Nathalie Lake. Michael J. Fox is Jason Stone. Rod Steiger is General Decker. Tom Jones is in this film as himself. Lucas Haas is Richie Norris, the hero of the film, I would say. Yeah. Natalie Portman plays Taffy Dale, who is the president's daughter. Jim Brown is Byron Williams, a retired boxer who also, I guess now he just kind of does shows at a casino.
He's a badass in this movie. Like that dude. Like something about that guy. Just he's a fucking man. Like and like
Yeah,
because he's like
I do.
6'2" and stands up over everybody. He's a fucking dude, man.
Yeah. I got something to say about Jim Brown here in a minute, but
Yeah, I'm
once I
gonna
get
take
through
him to
the rest
I'm
of
gonna
these.
take him to the toilet bowl, baby, because I gotta take a shit. Because he played for the Cleveland Browns, and then you take the Browns to the Super Bowl. Come on, people.
Lisa Marie is like the woman that the Martians are disguised as. Let's see. Paul Winfield is General Casey. Pam Grier is Louise Williams, who is Byron's ex-wife. Jack Black is Billy Glenn Norris, who is Richie's older brother, and he's like the soldier that dies. He dies in the initial like attack.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Janice Rivera is Cindy. Don't skip that shit. I'm on Wikipedia too, Cody. So fuck you.
Janice Rivera is Cindy.
That's also
Ray
Tim
J.
Burton's favorite actor in this movie, based on the screen time and her lines. So everybody, just Google her if you want. If you're just curious, Google her if you want. There's a reason, people. And what's funny is like, what's her name? Lisa Marie. That's who he was fucking at the time. That was his domestic partner from like 93 to 01. And he cast her in Planet of the Apes, his remake that he had with Mark Wahlberg. And during production of that movie, he dumped her ass for the lead actress in that movie, who played the lead monkey. Yeah, and then had her for like 13 years and then dumped her after somebody else. He seems like a real piece of shit. But anywho.
He had her for 13 years.
Yeah, I mean, he did. No, like
he had her.
He was just fucking her for 13 years straight.
Yeah, I mean, like she says it, and she says that like I was looking up her personal life on Wikipedia, and a quote she had was like, "He only cast me in movies to great embarrassment." Like it was almost like he was embarrassed to have to cast her because like he had been doing that for all of his other girlfriends and shit.
Hold up, Ray J's in this fucking. Wait, Ray J's one of the
Yeah,
kids.
That's what I was gonna say. Ray J is Cedric,
He gets his dick
who's one of the
sucked in this
kids.
movie.
That's an example of like someone who obviously was not like famous really at all at the time, and he became famous later on
Because he got his dick sucked.
Same thing as Jack Black. Like Jack Black was pretty much a nobody at this point in his career.
Jack Black's
so yeah.
Fucking southern accent in this is like he's like doing Forrest Gump. It's like
Dude,
the stupidest.
I've got stuff to say about the accents too, but let me hold on.
Hey, do they
Brandon
do they talk about his dad? Like the guy who plays his dad, Jack Black's dad in this movie. That guy, he's a
it's
Go ahead.
Joe Don Baker.
Joe Don Baker. Have we got to that part yet?
No, I'm
Okay,
trying.
Yeah. No, my bad. Yeah, he's a big like he's done movies and stuff like that. He's a big TV actor too. Like I've seen him a bunch. He played in quite a few episodes in Heat of the Night, which is an old show I liked. And he's a good actor. I thought everybody was kind of natural in their redneck shit except for Jack Black.
Well, there's so all right. Let me run through this real quick, and then we'll talk about the accents. Brandon Hammond is Neville. Joe Don Baker is Glenn Norris, who's Richie's father. Olan Jones is Sue Ann Norris, who's Richie's mother. Christina Applegate is Sharona, who is Billy Glenn's girlfriend, and Trailer Park Lover is what it says on here. Yeah, it's crazy because it's like I'm pretty sure Christina Applegate was a decently well-known name at this point, right? Like, she was in Married with Children, right? So wasn't that already like a thing at this point? Anyway,
definitely.
Brian Haley plays Mitch, who's a Secret Service agent. And the rest of these don't really matter because they're all just like random small part actors. Trying to scroll through because I don't know. Okay, yeah, there's no Frank Welker is the voice of the Martians. But the rest of these are just like small part type people. So the accents. My problem with it is they're not in the South.
Yeah.
But they talk like they're from fucking deep Alabama.
Well, it's just that thing. I was watching a review actually of this movie right before we were on here, and they talked about it too. And it's just it's just a Hollywood showcase.
Yeah,
if you're
dumb from the trailer park.
If you're dumb and poor, you're from the South. You have to have a Southern accent.
Yeah, even though they're like from Nevada
And-
or some shit.
and the review-
in this film.
In
Like,
the review I was watching, they made a really good point. They talked about like 8 Mile, and like Eminem's mom has a southern accent in that, and they live in like fucking Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing that confused me about their like whole setup is, so remind me, the initial meeting with the aliens, where did that take place? Like where they're out in the desert?
Yeah, it's like in the
Nevada.
desert.
Yeah, it's in Nevada.
That's in
what they
Nevada.
say.
So I'm confused. He's like, I'm joining the Martian detail, and
He just gets to choose. By the way.
a Greyhound bus shows up, and it says it's going to Kansas City, but it looks like they're already in the desert in Nevada. So he's taking a bus to Kansas City, and then he's got to go all the way back out to Nevada.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And he got through boot camp in like 2 days.
Yeah, I didn't understand
like,
if he was supposed to be going to boot camp or if he was like already done or what. There's a lot of weird
Yeah, I don't
shit
know. I mean,
with
There's somebody who's obsessed with this stuff, and I just notice it with people because of hair loss. Jack Black's haircut. I was looking at it, and I'm like, the corners of his hairline are extremely thin. So that means he's been on some Propecia or some Rogaine his entire fucking movie career, and that hair he's got is all because of medicine, baby. 'Cause that motherfucker's that dude has a fucking high forehead now, and he had it then too. It's like Jesus, like his hair looked better cut short in Tropic Thunder than it did here. Like this looked fucking bad. Like it was, of course, they made him look like fucking like dumbasses. And real quick, Frank Welker, this motherfucker should be the richest dude alive. For all the sound effects he's provided for these movies, and he deserves a lot of respect. But all it is like, man, it's like, golly, damn, like I hated those fucking
baby,
scenes.
ack.
You hated the areas. They were the only part of the movie that I thought was really funny. See, I had watched this movie before, and like
He's like,
I don't
liked
know.
it, but now I'm sophisticated.
yeah, I was a
But-
kid. I was like a little kid. I was like maybe like 8.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this movie is fucking awesome. But like the only thing I really remembered was like the aliens like, destroying Mount Rushmore and like knocking over the Washington.
Disintegrating people.
Yeah, that's all I remembered. But like, half the movie are these like really unfunny like character bits.
I chuckled like 3 times in this movie. The one time I remember now as we're talking is when they're running through Las Vegas in the streets and they're killing people, and one of them has the translator going, "Look, don't run, we're your friends." Like
Yeah.
that part was the only part I actually chuckled at in this movie, other than like 2 other parts, and then obviously Cindy. Like
Yeah.
Cindy's the reason to like rewatch this movie if
And-
you're gonna watch it.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as Owen, where I watched this movie a lot when I was a kid. I had it on VHS. I think we even had like a novelization.
It's got a lot of nuanced details, baby.
Yeah.
I tell you, the actor who's on top of Christina Applegate when they're having sex, and you see the aliens are like, being all perverts and shit, and they kill him. She screams and she's acting. He's just staring at a fucking blue screen, dude. He's like,
He said,
What?
I get to hump Christina Applegate? Okay.
yeah. But that's just the best part. Like, I watched that scene a couple times. I rewind. I'm like, is this dude just staring? Like, this what kept bothering me because I kept trying to see what her face was doing because I kept looking at him. He was just staring. Like he's got like a 10,000 yard stare going, I hope I don't shit myself or something. It's like, this dude, like, I don't know who they cast in this scene. Like, holy shit, guys. Like, there's
Yeah.
and the chick who plays the president's wife, Glenn, what's her name?
Glenn Close.
Okay. Now, I'm pretty
Right.
sure she's like, she's won like numerous awards. And I don't mean to be like,
Oh yeah.
like this.
There are a bunch of great actors in this movie. It's just their performances are not good.
Yeah.
Like none of them.
It's like it's
Oh.
trying to be tongue in cheek, but I don't know. It's not committing fully enough. It's really weird. It's funny too because like I like shitty 50s like B movie sci-fi. Like I've seen War of the Worlds like the 50s version and like Invasion of the Martians, and like I don't know. And this is supposed to, I guess, be kind of like a parody of that, but it's not like at all. Really? Like only the beginning is sort of. Because a big thing is like, you know, in those 50s sci-fi movies, like there's not really a whole lot of action. And like towards the end of this, it's just like, okay, yeah, here's all the action and shit.
Well, that's something else I kind of have a problem with it is like, so they try and establish a lot of plot in like the first half or so of the movie, right?
Yeah.
And pretty much once the aliens attack Congress, the plot just completely goes out the window. Like,
yeah,
it's just
there's not really.
It's just like
main character.
Half an hour. Yeah, it's just like half an hour of like random bits that I guess they thought would be cool or funny or whatever to have in the movie. You know, you get like them destroying the monuments. You get them like showing up at Tom Jones's like during Tom Jones's performance where they're like they replace the backup singers or whatever, and
it's all just bits. Well, to add to that, sorry, real quick, just to add to that, you know, it is based on, you know, the cards. You know, the original cards are all just like little snapshots of like, you know, the Martians invading. So
yeah,
it kind of follows that like a little bit.
Yeah, it's just
one thing
it's just they could have done a better.
Hold on, I got to do because Cody's got this whole long thing that's going to leak. I just got something really quick to say, and that's why I brought up Glenn Close. And I always forget when I see her name that she is a female actor. And when I see the first name Glenn, my brain auto corrects to Glenn Strange. And if anyone knows who that guy is, he's an actor. Died in '73. He was almost 80 years old, 70 years old at that point. He was 70, like 74. He played Frankenstein's monster in Universal Monsters movies, like 3 of them. And I just remember seeing he played in Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. He played the monster in that movie. That's what I think of. Whenever I see her name Glenn, I automatically go, why is he in the movie? Isn't he dead? But that's just me. So,
I think they could have done a better job of blending in the attack scenes and stuff, like to actually carry the plot forward somewhat, because it just feels like the plot hits just like a wall at that point. You know, you've got the whole setup with Jim Brown. You know, he's trying to go back home to Washington to see his kids. He wants to get back with his wife. Yeah. You know, Richie is kind of this kid who his family looks at him like he's some sort of disappointment, and it's building up to him like kind of being the one who saves the planet, you know. But it takes a hard pause on I would consider those two like the two protagonists, I guess, of the film, because so many characters just get killed off pretty quick.
Like this movie will kill some characters. I don't like them killing the animals. I thought that was fucking dumb.
The movie opening up with like a bunch of cows on fire.
Oh yeah, it's so fucking stupid. It looked like ass.
Do you smell barbecue?
He's like, look, I know you boys are. He's like, y'all celebrate some Korean holiday, but it's like.
But you could whip me up a plate right quick.
And the cows, why are they running while they're on fire? It makes no sense. Like some of these actors, like for as much top talent as this movie has, all the extras are like not great actors, and they're obviously looking at some puppets or green screen shit, and they don't know how to act.
Oh yeah,
it's really bad. I think that's why my girl Cindy didn't have many lines, and all she does is look scared and bounce.
She goes, oh.
That green screen got them acting some sort of way.
Oh well, hey, look, man. I know I sound like a pervert. Tim Burton put her in it for no obvious reason, but for that one purpose.
Got that green scrussy.
Yeah. Look,
I swear, like I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. This is a spoiler alert for the ending of this episode. I fucking hated this movie. It took me 5 hours to watch it because I kept stopping it because I was so bored and just absolutely hated this shit.
It took me 5 hours too, but I kept getting interrupted. And kind of because I was getting a little bored in the beginning.
Like, dude, I am not a
The movie
Tim
is pretty
fan.
Boring.
Like, this is the whole thing.
I like
Cody has his directors he likes, like Tim Burton.
I like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and I like Beetlejuice.
Nah, I don't even like Beetlejuice. Like all this shit I've watched, I've just been annoyed with. He did Nightmare on Before Christmas, right?
What about Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
He didn't direct it.
Do you like Pee-wee's
But he
Big
wrote
Adventure?
it, didn't
he? Yeah, he wrote it. But
yeah,
he
like
didn't.
all that kind of
he didn't direct it.
That Tim Burton, like that, everybody ties into this cartoony goth thing. I sent you guys a group text. Like he should have directed Space Jam, like because everything looks like he wants to live in Looney Tunes world but make it dark. That's what his imagination is for everything. And it's like that's fine and shit, but I swear, like I haven't went back to watch his Batman movies because I just don't fucking care. Like I just don't. There's something about it being too cartoony for live action for me that just kind of throws me off. I'm like, all this movie, I understand this was the CGI craze, and we've talked about this with Jurassic Park. What we did, like a year ago, 2 years ago, Cody, something like that.
Something like that.
And we talked about how like that was the start of that CGI craze. Obviously, a little bit before that was Terminator 2 with the T-1000, the liquid guy, Richard Patrick.
Except the difference is that the CGI in Jurassic Park still holds up.
It
today,
does, and
30 years later.
And they put a lot of care into it. Like this movie benefited from being on VHS.
Yeah.
When you
well, Jurassic Park's secret is like, it also uses a lot of animatronics as well. And when it does use CGI, it tries to usually obfuscate it, through like shadows and stuff. So
the few
it's smart.
The few puppets that you see that are painted up like the aliens in this movie don't look half bad. But they did it as a cost cutting because you can't have a bunch of extras dressed up like these aliens. You have to make it CGI so you can multiply the population that's invading. I get that part. It just looks fucking rough. And, they, like, high definition does it. Like, I'd rather watch a fucking movie that you see the puppet strings on high definition. Like, damn, that sucks. No, this CGI is fucking worse than that.
The movies, I would say from 95 through 05, a lot of them that use CG, like, that shit just does not hold up at all. No. And I'm glad that nowadays, like, more directors are like, look, like, we can do practical effects for this sort of thing, and it ends up holding up a hell of a lot better in the long term. So let's just do it, like, instead of just trying to, this George Lucas fell victim to this shit in the late 90s, so, and it makes me so want to shoot myself.
Speaking of Lucas, it's funny, people are noticing that, I don't think Disney did this, but that he had made some changes between the theatrical cut and the, like, Blu-ray releases of prequel trilogy. Like, there's some things changed because he just can't help but not fuck with shit. And it's just like, I do appreciate directors who don't go back and touch their shit. Like, I want to get, they're out there. You can't buy them. You have to go to some website to download them. But there's a thing called 4K 77, 4K 80, 4K 83. They're the despecialized, like, ultimate editions of the original Star Wars trilogy. The guy who made it's called the Harmy editions, like, originally. That's like the original Blu-ray, like, people were releasing that you could get. But he said the people that went back and done the 4K despecialized, like, editions for Star Wars, that's the best ones that he's seen. Like, they're better than his. And so you can go to a website and download that shit. Like they've actually found original cuts of the movie and they've done it themselves, made it 4K. So I
have an interesting fact about George Lucas I learned the other day. So there was a time where some movie studio, I can't remember who it was, wanted to take Citizen Kane and colorize it. And two big directors that, like, spoke out against doing that were Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, basically arguing that the original vision of the film should not be tampered with, which is rich coming from a man who has literally changed the original Star Wars movies about 4 or 5 times and has made it to where there is no fucking way to watch the original theatrical cuts of Star Wars.
Yeah.
He put a woman in charge of his company as he sold it to Disney.
I can see
said,
George's.
Go ahead, Owen.
Nah, So I can see George's like twisted viewpoint kind of in that is that like he's like, oh, I'm the director, any changes I make, that's what I originally wanted to do, versus
that's how he's always described it.
Yeah,
it's fucking like, I swear, like there's a dude who, he's the biggest like following of Star Wars, like fan creation and media content. The Star Wars theory, and this dude, if he could, would fucking blow George Lucas because he's like, oh, it's just George.
He glazes him.
Like, it's his vision. Yeah, he would 100%. But he said, I remember, like he was talking about. It's like, yeah, when I was watching the DVD release of. This is how younger he is. He goes, I was watching the DVD release of Return of the Jedi, and they had Hayden Christensen show up at the end of it. And I was like, that just sold it for me. I was just such a huge Star Wars fan.
I pooped and farted my pants, and I shitted.
And here's the best part. I remember watching, because he did a live reaction as he was rewatching the movie with fans, but obviously you didn't see the movie. You just had to play and watch his reaction. I guess some people, I'm like, I watched it, so I can't say anything. But the part came up where they added in the Darth Vader "no" at the end of Return of the Jedi, and he was like, "Oh, that's such an unnecessary change." And he goes, "Who changed that? Did George change it, or did Disney add that in?" And I'm sure a couple of comments were like, "No, George did it before he sold it to Disney, and he never touched it again because it's a fucking terrible change, and he can't admit when George does something fucking stupid." Like, and now I'm seeing people now that are just kind of like, I originally didn't like the change, but now I like the change. I'm just like, no, you just accepted it. Like, when I showed Savannah that movie, and believe me, it was a chore to get her to watch the movies, but she got entrenched in the story. We watched the Disney Plus version of A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Then I got my dad's DVD release that was from 2004, Return of the Jedi, to watch because I was not watching that final scene with her the first time with Darth Vader saying no. But George like him, and then he's sitting there talking shit about Disney and like their sequel trilogy. Not talking shit, but he's stating the fucking obvious. It's like, look, George, you made $4 billion off of Disney, and you're still a shareholder in the fucking company, dude. Just take your money. Just stop. Shut up. You're 80 fucking years old. Who gives a shit? You're gonna have dementia soon anyway. And it's like, yeah, I was trying to get Arnold. He'll eventually say some stupid shit like, I was trying to get Arnold Schwarzenegger to be Luke, but he didn't want to do it, or some stupid like crazy shit people say when they get old. And it's just fucking ridiculous with him. And
cool.
I mean, like, I'm Daddy.
He's like,
starts talking like
I need to be.
Starts talking like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And like I said, the whole just a small microcosm of George. Like, his company commissioned all these people to write the expanded universe, and he had to kind of approve the general story ideas for them to go along. And then he'd sit there and said, "Well, none of this shit's canon. It doesn't matter." But like the whole Boba Fett thing, like when it came back to when he made Attack of the Clones, he originally was going to make Boba Fett like Vader's brother or Anakin Skywalker's brother, and he's like, no, I don't do that. So he made him a clone of a made-up character, Jango Fett, he just created for that. And he acted like that was some big plan. And then again, going into the DVD release, he changed Boba Fett's original badass voice for just the guy who plays Jango Fett speaking into a fucking telephone the 3 lines he wanted him to say, and he put that in the fucking movie. Like, that's what it was. Like, George was talking to him over the phone and told him, here, I want you to say these lines. He said the lines. George put that in the fucking movie. Not in the sound booth. Nothing. It's like, Jesus, guy, like, fucking do it right. And now it's just funny to me, the guy who plays Boba Fett played Jango Fett, but when he talks, he tries to make his voice more gravelly. Like, he's doing the best he can to do his version of the original Boba Fett voice to not sound like Jango. Because he's supposed to be like methodical the way he talks and just like really rough and gruff, and he tries to do that. I just think that's funny. But George, like, saying shit about Star Wars, like, I get so tired of it when people are like, oh, he would have done so much better. No, he wouldn't have, because he didn't fucking do the movies. He said for fucking years, oh, that's it. The story of Star Wars is just the story of Darth Vader. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now all of a sudden he sells it to Disney. Oh, I had these plans for 7, 8, and 9. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. You're the king of, like, fucking hindsight. Like, oh, yeah, this is what I was going to do. Well, why didn't you fucking do it? His fucking mistake and what should have fucking happened is he should have done his 3 movies, done a sequel trilogy that everybody would have been happy with, and fucking he could have killed Harrison Ford off, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill would be able to do the shit, and then years down the road sell it to Disney, because guess what? Disney can do fucking prequel movie pretty good. They did Rogue One, and that's beautiful. I think the prequel trilogy would have been a lot better if Disney did it, and the sequel trilogy would have been a lot better if George had done it back then. But, he just... And the funny thing is, and I didn't even realize this till Owen told me this a couple years ago, he didn't even direct Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Somebody else had to do it. Because he fucking sucked. Like, that fucking... His ex-wife who edited the first movie, A New Hope, it took her a lot of work to make that movie make sense. And then she said, I guess, I don't know, like, she said she saw, like, A Phantom Menace, and she said she cried because it wasn't a good movie.
Well, there were reports of people, like, that worked on Phantom Menace, and, they'd have, like, their storyboards or whatever, and George would, like, walk in, and he would have, like, 2 different color highlighters or whatever, and basically it'd be, like, yellow highlighter means practical effects, and green highlighter would mean CG, and like literally most of the storyboards would be highlighted in green, and people were just like so like just disappointed and like downtrodden because it's like this isn't what we really wanted to do as far as making Star Wars goes. But he just had such a fucking hard on for CG.
Hey, Cody, was it? Oh, sorry. Go
and
ahead.
that CG also looks fucking awful nowadays.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
I think me and Cody saw a clip. I don't know if it was me and Cody or me and Owen. I know I've seen this, so forgive me who I'm not giving credit to watching it with. But there was people, and they did a showing of Phantom Menace. It was like all the editors and producers and shit. They're all watching, and you see just like this disheveled and exhausted look at all.
Yeah, and they're like all sad. And they're like,
oh. And George is like, well, it's a little too late in the process to change the movie.
Yeah, it's like their style. He's like coping really hard. He's like, it's stylistically designed to be that way.
And everybody is like,
well, he still to this day makes the whole excuse of, I read something the other day. It's like, oh well, I feel like people who didn't like the prequel trilogies were the kids who grew up watching the original trilogy, and they became adults, and they don't understand that these are kids movies. It's like, okay, but your argument doesn't make any sense when 2 of the fucking movies focus on fucking trade embargoes, because that's what every 10-year-old wants to fucking know. I was gonna
bring that up because I remember I read that too, and I was like, dude, we're still coping about this shit to this day about it being a kids movie. Dude, I was a kid when these fucking movies came out, and I went to the theaters as a kid to see Episode 3. I like begged my mom to walk out because I was bored as fuck and I wanted to watch Madagascar.
As a kid, I loved Episode 1 because of the pod racing and Darth Maul.
Yeah,
God,
literally everything else in that movie.
The
I did
only
not
thing
give 2 shits about.
As a kid, the only thing I liked in the prequels were the clone troopers, Darth Maul, and like that's fucking it.
I mean, I've never liked the second Episode 2. Episode 2 to me is just a dumb.
I liked Jango Fett also. I also liked Jango Fett.
Okay, so the original movie, and I went back and rewatched it. I thought it was really cool. And as I told Owen this, and he got real mad. There was a scene that was in a deleted scene where young Anakin Skywalker is fighting with young Greedo, the alien that gets killed in New Hope on Tatooine. I'm like, hey man, Greedo was fighting with Darth Vader. What do you think? And he's like, it's fucking stupid.
It is stupid.
But
why does everything have to be fucking like connected in Star Wars?
Well, that's a big complaint with fans too. Is like, why does it as big as a universe as Star Wars is supposed to feel, it always feels small because everything always has to have some kind of like connection to other things in the franchise.
Like the fucking Skywalkers.
It's
alliteration? It's like in
What is alliteration? Is that I may have the wrong word here. So what is the definition of alliteration?
When you like repeat words that have the same like starting sound, if I remember right.
Okay. All right, so that's way fucking off. I was like, dude. Like,
let me make sure. I mean, I got Google right in front of me.
Yeah. Alliteration is the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words.
Okay, so I was confusing because I thought it may have been because like alluding, like you allude to things. Like, okay, like this might happen in the future. Like sometimes there's like a little wink and nod at the camera, like this will happen in the future. Like the future,
yeah,
like if you're doing
foreshadowing. You mean?
Yeah, foreshadowing. But George is like fucking billboard in your face. You remember this? It's gonna happen now. But this is the first time it happened, so it's like, dude, look. I like the Greedo Anakin Skywalker thing. I will tell you this: the pod racing shit bored the absolute fuck out of me because I found little Anakin to be kind of annoying, and I was
Yippee.
also confused why Padme, who he's going to bone, looks like she's 16 and he's 9 years old. I was like, that's a big age difference. Now, don't get me wrong.
She likes him
If
young.
I was 18 years old and going to bang somebody who was 26, I fucking think that was cool as shit. I couldn't get my own like age pussy at any time. Like my girlfriend, it took me 6 months to get a girlfriend, and she was my age, thankfully. But it's like, I didn't have to settle for it. It's just kind of weird. Like I don't think any older girl would find that young of a kid that attractive going in the future. It's really fucking weird, especially as hot as Padme.
Yeah, it's weird.
But he,
Um,
I just like that. The fucking Attack of the Clones is so fucking cringeworthy. Like everything just makes me like look away. Like ugh. But Jango Fett was cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, it introduces Boba Fett, and then they have that entire Clone Wars thing, which is so funny to me. Like if you watch the prequels 1, 2, and 3, there's fucking nothing about a character named Ahsoka. And then she's supposed to be this integral part in the Clone Wars, and it's like they put her in this fucking TV show. And like watching that Ahsoka series wasn't a bad series, but it's so disjointed. You're like, you're not mentioned at all in the
afterthought,
original
bitch.
trilogy. Like you're
Yeah.
it's just it's what happens when you pigeonhole like some new thing and don't kill it off. Like it doesn't make any sense. And it's like again, George didn't have a fucking plan. Do you think he would have had Luke and Leia tongue kissing if he was going to reveal them to be brother and sister the next fucking movie? Do you think it was going to like, oh yeah, he's about to torture Leia, Darth Vader was in the original movie, and inject her? Like, Vader couldn't feel that Luke and Leia were his kids?
In my mind, Luke laid some deep pipe inside of Leia. And
he really laid some pipe. I thought it was really cool to see Luke French kiss his sister. It made me kind of horny, and I think that should be in more films.
He was like, he said he made it sound like that was always the plan. Like, no, the fuck, it wasn't. You made Darth Vader into Luke's dad to be a shock value, and people got mad. But then every other movie fucking copied it going forward.
It made me really want to start gooning, and
the worst thing. So Star Wars: The Clone Wars. The worst thing about the start of it is Ahsoka. I think they salvage her later on as the thing progresses, but that's what kept me as a kid from watching it. I was like, this is fucking stupid. She's not even in any of the movies,
dude. And the thing is, like, I'll tell you one thing. For the longest time, when Darth Maul got killed in Star Wars Episode 1, he gets sliced in half and he goes down that fucking, like, cylinder chamber thing. You don't know what's at the bottom of it. Well, in the novelization, it's like a pit at the bottom is like lava from the planet's core. So he goes and he gets incinerated, so he dies in the book. Everyone kept saying, the kids, and this is how fucking stupid kids are, they're like, yeah, man, he's going to come back in the next movie, and he's going to have like a mechanical bottom half. And I'm like, there's no fucking way. And then he comes back, and like George took that idea he heard that people wanted, and fused that idea with the Scorpion King, and made Darth Maul this fucking weird mechanical spider creature, and then he gets a mechanical bottom half. But here's the fucking problem, everybody. Darth Maul...
He just walks up to random kids. He wears a disguise and goes up to random kids at McDonald's and gives them a Happy Meal. He's like, so what do you think about Darth Maul?
Exactly. Well, here's the best part. Darth Maul got cut in half at the waist. That means he has no dick. He has no ass. He barely has a stomach.
He can't piss.
He can't eat. What happens to him? How does he sustain himself at this point? There's no practical thing. But by God, that sequel trilogy is going to have some fucking blue milk that Luke Skywalker was going to milk from an alien titty and drink. But it's like, it's just one of those things.
They should have Darth Maul whip out like a mechanical dick and start pissing.
I just like if he eats, like where does it go? Like he got cut in half at the waist.
Yeah, just so the audience knows.
He's got a poop bag.
Just some practical thing like it. But it's just like, but Darth Maul coming back in Clone Wars was really fucking cool. And then that sequel series, Rebels, which is literally like before Episode 4, but it goes concurrently until Episode 6 when it ends, and Ahsoka's in that. But they also have Darth Maul in it, and then him and Obi-Wan having one more face-off is pretty fucking cool in the desert. So that shit's kind of cool. But if you just go back, if you watch that and then go back to watch the original Star Wars, you're like, this wouldn't fit at all. Like, this dude fucking barely moved. It's just kind of funny to me.
What's the last Star Wars thing that they've released besides like Bad Batch?
It was Bad Batch. Like, yeah, they got the Acolyte coming.
Acolyte's an
It's been like
which takes place
forever,
like a long time before.
It was Ahsoka before that.
Yeah,
it's kind of
Ahsoka was the last live action thing.
But they also had Tales of the Jedi, and they got Tales of the Sith coming out, or the Empire or some shit. They're like little 15-minute shorts. They're animated, so I haven't gone back to watch it. I just don't care, dude. Like,
it just feels like it's been a while. I guess.
I think them doing the Disney going and doing like the Acolyte and like doing the what the fuck is it called, the High Order era or whatever, is a smart move, because it's like, let's get away from trying to like intertwine every little thing with fucking characters that everyone knows, and like just you're going back way before there's Jedi aplenty. And it's like, let's do some good, cool shit with this without having to rely on dragging out like, here's CG Luke Skywalker.
They're
showing
doing the Old Republic type shit now.
No, okay. I will say this.
It's the High Republic.
Peak Disney Star Wars, I would argue, obviously was The Force Awakens.
Rogue One.
But then, obviously, The Last Jedi, and then the divisiveness that came after that still permeates through. Thankfully, it's died off a little bit because... I was right. Rian Johnson's not getting a sequel his own trilogy. But The Mandalorian season 1 and then going into season 2 was such a fucking emotional high for like hardcore fans, especially. I think everybody fucking universally loved that shit. And then obviously they bring back Boba Fett, and they give me a Boba Fett series, which sucked, but it was still nice to at least have my boy highlighted. But having Luke show up at the end of season 2, Mandalorian, was a fucking awesome moment. You can't shit on that. Like, that shit's fucking cool as hell. Now, how are they going to kill off all these fan favorite characters before the sequel trilogy happens? That's the hard part, you know. They put too much effort into making, like I was talking to somebody else at work about it. I'm like, look, the Mandalorian is all the cool shit Boba Fett was in the expanded universe put onto a different character, and everybody acts like, well, you know, he's better than Boba Fett. It's like, no, they just took Boba Fett's template and added it to like this new character they just made up. And people wanted something like new that they can gravitate to, because when you have like characters with so much lore, they're just kind of like, oh, that shit's just for nerds. But if you have something new like a Baby Yoda, and this isn't really Yoda, but it's Baby Yoda, so it's something new. I like that.
Baby Yoda.
But it's
Dad, I'm a soldier.
But that Mandalorian season 3, like I said, that was kind of a drag to get through. Ahsoka, I watched it, thought it was decent, but I don't know. Like, it's unfortunate because that one guy who had the orange lightsaber in the show, that actor ended up dying in real life after the show was released. So his character, which they did not kill off, or a little bit before the show was released, he ended up passing away. He had like a heart attack or something like that. That character, who was pretty cool, pretty nuanced, that did not get killed off in the show, we will never see again because he can't come back. So it's just kind of some unfortunate things right there. And they're not going to do any more live action Disney stuff until they do the Mandalorian movie that's going to come out. So I'm assuming it's going to be a little hodgepodge like Boba Fett, all these people from the show in the movie. Yeah. But yeah, they got to do something like. And they're making a movie with Daisy Ridley coming back as what's her face. What is the character's name from the fucking movies? Rey. She's coming back as Rey in a future movie. And it's just like, God, like, damn, guys, let's just do something different. I think what hardcore fans is like, we want Knights of the Old Republic made into a movie. But don't change the characters too much. We want everybody to see how cool these characters are. That's ultimately what hardcore fans want with their intellectual property they like. Like, we want you to see how badass these characters are that we fell in love with. Don't change anything else. Just put it into a movie. You know? But it just sucks. This is a hard thing. And like, let's go back to this Mars attack. This turns into a variety episode.
Yeah.
So Jack Nicholson, I'll say this, is a fucking psychopath. The way he acts with his eyes, I find him extremely entertaining. I like Jack Nicholson, but when he's like just doing his presidential deliveries, and he just has this kind of like it's almost like he has the look he had in The Shining almost. When he's like staring at the camera, like this dude's about to fucking kill somebody if he can. And then everybody ends up dying pretty quickly. It's kind of funny, not really expected. Like I didn't think Michael J. Fox was going to get killed that quickly. And then his bitch girlfriend or wife just openly tried to cheat on him before and after death with Pierce Bronson. I mean, he's beautiful, I get it, but it's just I don't know, man. There's something about this movie.
Sarah Jessica Parker. Sarah Jessica Parker.
She's married to in real life Matthew Broderick, who was Ferris Bueller in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He was also played in the '98 Godzilla movie. And he played in a bunch of other shit.
In The Lion King.
Is he?
Yeah, he's adult Simba in The Lion King.
Dude, I had no idea. So, James Earl Jones was Mufasa.
Mm-hmm.
Who was Scar again? That's the guy who played Jeff. He played the butler in Batman versus Superman, right? He played Alfred.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, it was funny. My mom. Obviously I've talked about my cat Kipper on the show, but we ended up getting a black cat. Not Boo Boo. He came a little later on. This was my mom's cat, and we were thinking of a name for him, and we're like, "What is the Lion King's name?" It's like Simba. It's like Simba's okay. And they were like, we're trying to figure out, like, what is his dad's name? This is 2005. You don't have a Wikipedia yet. She's like, what was his dad's name? And my grandma it took like a day. We just kept, like, openly talking about it. My grandma goes, it's Mufasa. And then my mom was like, okay, we'll just call him Simba. I ain't spelling all that out. It's like, okay, What are you going to say about Jim Brown in this movie? I think he's the best part in this movie.
Oh, I was, it's surprising that Jim Brown ended up being like one of the main characters of the film, because you wouldn't think. I don't know if Jim Brown did a lot of acting before this or anything, or after, but
hey, there's a quick story I can tell you about this. He was playing for the Cleveland Browns, like they were like NFL champion Cleveland Browns, and he went to go film a movie. He got a role in a movie that eventually I'm going to cover. Cody's not going to be interested in it, but I know Owen will like it. It's The Dirty Dozen. And he's in that movie. Well, he was still an active NFL player at that point. He was filming this movie in the offseason. Well, the owner comes out, who is the same guy who moves the Browns to Baltimore to become the Ravens, and then has to sell majority stake in the team because he's so broke, even with the money he got from the city of Baltimore. Has this bright idea saying, oh, yeah, he's the best player in the NFL, but I'm going to fine him every day he's $100 he's not here. Because he was still filming the movie. The movie had some reshoots or something like that. And Jim got word of that and was like, okay, I'm going to retire. Like, Jim Brown was 30 years old. He still had plenty of football he could have played and continued to build his record up. He was already the leading NFL rusher in all time at that point. And he was like, I'm going to retire. He held a press conference in Europe while they were filming the movie saying he was announcing his retirement from the NFL. Never played another down. Started acting going forward. And then he ended up having a role with Raquel Welch, who was she was hot. And then they had like one of the first interracial love scenes on screen, which was kind of like groundbreaking shit like that. And he's a big political activist now, especially the last like 30, 40 years. But yeah, I think he's a good actor.
He passed away.
Well, he was, I know, but I think I liked him in The Dirty Dozen for his first movie. You could just tell he's a big motherfucker because he was a running back. Well, he was technically a fullback, but he's a running back. He's just a big fucking dude. I think he's a good actor. I enjoyed his character in this movie. Like, there's something about the guy, like, he's just a badass. He'll beat the shit out of you. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the only good or I don't want to say good actors, because there are good actors who just do poor acting in this film. He's like one of the only ones who actually acts well in this film.
Yeah, everyone else is kind of overacting.
Yeah.
To kind of compensate for this paper-thin movie. And he's just being himself as an actor, and he's living within this character. And he's like, yeah, this dude's a bad motherfucker. I love it. He fucking just beats the shit out of the main alien. Like, man, I loved it, dude. I was just like, yeah, fucking go, Jim Brown. Like, this dude is a badass, man. I fucking loved it. And then at the end, he comes up, he survives this fucking thing. We gotta talk about the song here in a minute. But as he gets beat down by all the aliens ganging up on him, and he comes back and he stomps on that one alien's like brain, and I thought it was cool he survived, and obviously, you know, every scene he's in, Cindy's there with him. But that song, that all you hear is a woo, it sounds like something from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Like, I wonder if they took that from this movie, because that's all you hear is like woo. Like, I don't hear anything else in the song, and that's just like they don't play anything else with the song that breaks the aliens' brains.
I don't know. I think it comes off like very stereotypical, like B movie alien.
No, he was going for B movie with this movie. I mean, he wasn't making some like.
It's just 50s.
Oh yeah,
50s music. You know, like. So.
Yeah. I'm just saying as far as Courage goes, because I think Courage also draws a lot of inspiration from those old kind of like campy horror type things.
Yeah.
But dude, there's some shit watching Courage that kind of creeped me out when I was younger, dude. I ain't gonna lie. I go back and watch it. I do get scared of it. I'm like, damn, this is a good fucking show. I'm glad he gets to get into love.
The Harvest Ghost or whatever is the one that scared me the most when I was a kid.
Dude, I fucking got scared of those fucking spiders at that little motel. But they were like, kept coming through the drain because I hated spiders anyway. But
the Cat's Motel.
Yeah, and then obviously, like the best part of the show is that random dude that shows up is like, "Watch where you going, you fool." I said, man, like we'll be at work working on an air conditioning unit, and I'll just be like, oh, Muriel, or just some stupid shit, and someone else will start like, "Watch where you going, you fool."
I forgot about that guy. Watch where you're going, you fool.
Yeah, he's like listening to like reggae music in his big fucking like Cadillac car. And he's like, "Watch where you're going." There's no one else on this fucking road. There's one road. He just pulls up at this one-way stop. He's like, "Watch where you're going, you fool." And he gets like his car blown up or some shit. God, man, that's Mars Attacks. I remember watching this as a kid. We never talked about. You guys talked about your first experience. I remember watching it as a kid, being really grossed out when Martin Short's finger got bit off by that woman. It kind of scared me as a kid. At this point, I'm 8 years old when this movie came out. So if I saw it, I was probably 9 or 10. That freaked me out. And then obviously seeing the fish eat at the thing, the blood. I don't know why it grossed me out because I hadn't seen a horror movie yet. I remember that. I don't remember Cindy. I think I would have. I didn't know who Jim Brown was at the time, so I didn't appreciate it. I knew Jack Nicholson was. I didn't realize the significance of Jack Nicholson working with Tim Burton, the director, again. And then it's just kind of funny. You think about it, you have the Penguin and the Joker in this movie from Tim Burton's movies. And
as a kid, I didn't know like anybody in this movie at all. I was so young, but I just remember I liked the aliens.
Yeah,
so, and like and especially the ray guns or whatever. Like that was
you're starting off with like as you're a young child watching stuff, you're starting out with some strong taste, baby. Love it, love it. And now I'm paying for it with this podcast. You're like, hey, let's watch this. It's like, fuck, I know this is gonna be shitty. You're like, I want to watch another Sam Raimi shit. I'm like, okay. I'm doing it for the podcast.
That's why my next movie is Dark Man. No, I'm kidding.
That's actually got fucking Liam Neeson, right?
I'm not sure. I've never seen Dark Man. I just know it's another Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, I think that's fucking. I think it's got Liam Neeson in it. And here's another thing, Quiddy. They're rebooting, or I guess continuing, a Naked Gun movie. And Liam Neeson is playing the character who's the son of Leslie Nielsen's character. I think it's kind of funny. So,
I wonder if Liam Neeson's going to pee his pants in the film. Because, he just openly urinates his pants in public.
Does he?
I don't know if y'all knew that. Yeah.
When's the last time he did that?
Just Google
I don't want to
Liam
Google
Neeson
that. I don't want to
pees his pants.
I'll do it.
Just Liam Neeson pees his pants, you're gonna find a bunch of pictures of Liam Neeson that he's pissed his pants.
Liam Neeson's unapologetic pants pissing a thread. What the fuck?
Oh no.
Why does he like have piss stains? Dude, he's just like standing in public fucking Liam Neeson's piece.
I just want to say I am not looking this up. Owen is, but it's fine.
What the fuck?
But now that I know that, I'm less looking forward to the movie.
Maybe he just like pre-comes so much. Like he's just always really horny.
Could you imagine? Like, how fucking like exhausted would you be if you came that much?
Like all the time.
Like you'd just be like fucking dehydrated all the time. Like, oh god.
As an old man too. Like he's just so fucking like virile. He's still as an old man.
His sexual libido is like going through the roof.
Yeah, he's like still soaking his pants with like pre-nut.
They interview him about it, they're like, why do you do this? He's like, look, I can either jizz in my pants or I can be a sexual offender like Vince McMahon if you want.
What the fuck, dude? He must either that or I can't believe he's pissing his fucking pants. He's just like standing talking to people like it. He just like has piss dripping down his pants.
I'm trying to think.
There's like 1,000 pictures of this too.
I told you. It's not like a one-off thing. It's like a thing that he obviously does on purpose.
I'm thinking about Ace Ventura when Nature Calls, when he meets the other guy, and he's like, the urine stain on your pants shows that you're a single shake man, far too busy for the follow-up jiggle.
I think he's drunk like in all these pictures.
Like his hair's all disheveled, he's sweating profusely, and he's pissing his pants.
Yeah,
like it's a normal day for him.
Like you could tell, yeah, you could tell he's like fucking like kind of tired, like like he's got like that drunk look where you're like kind of sleepy, but you're like, oh.
Dude, this fucking episode, I swear we spent 20 minutes talking about the movie, and we've recorded for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about more.
Well, I think we thought it would be a lot better with its ensemble cast, but like really the only thing that's dragging to this movie and that you're gonna come away with is just
my nuts.
Is my nuts across your face, bitch. It's really just the action.
Swear, dude, yeah, I wish man, this movie was like a fucking waste of time.
Did this have any
I don't put
development issues or anything that you could like? Did you see anything like that?
No, this is
Cody?
Tim Burton's full vision, baby.
Okay, this seems like a movie that like had something like maybe like the studio like meddled.
Something went wrong.
Yeah, like something went wrong is what it feels like. Like the studio meddled.
No, I think by this point in his career, like he had so many like big hits that the studio pretty much was just like, yeah, sure, do what you want to do, and it just did not work out.
I'll tell you one fucking thing, dude. I swear to God, if someone ever asked me, hey, what Tim Burton movie should I start off watching? I'm going to say Mars Attacks, just to save them from his filmography.
What about, you should just say Pee-wee Herman's Big Adventure.
We should watch Beetlejuice 2 or whatever.
Yeah, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice,
it's
like
so funny they get
the little black guy. His name is Beetlejuice.
There's a video of this is obviously when they were making fun of him and shit. But they had him on Howard Stern.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Hey, what's 2 + 2?" And he's like, 24. and they're like, "No, wait. We're gonna count this out, okay?" And he's like, "Okay." And you see him just staring into space. And they overplayed a video of like man conquering the moon and all these math equations, all this smart shit. You see him fucking with his hands as he's trying to count like 2 + 2. And they're like, okay, what's your answer? 36.
Dude, he's awesome.
That's so fucked up, dude. But no, like that Beetlejuice 2, I was like, I saw the trailer for it. I don't even remember what movie I went to go see. Oh, I went to go see Godzilla vs. X Kong, the new Empire. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, I have no interest in this fucking shit. They brought in Jenna Ortega. I guess she's just gonna play every goth character now. That's what she's gonna be shoehorned in with. But it's just like I know Cody's gonna be like, guys, I'm gonna cover that on the podcast. I'm like, okay.
Cover the new Godzilla.
That's eventually gonna happen. I know I'm gonna have to sit through Beetlejuice.
Oh, Beetlejuice 2. Oh, so Jenna Ortega is meant to be the Winona Ryder of this movie.
Yeah, she's Winona Ryder's daughter in the film.
Oh.
Literally, like 3 generations of women, because it's also Catherine O'Hara is also coming back, and I think what one of like the things that kicks off the film is that
they sure as fuck weren't gonna bring in what was the
Winona
dad thing
Ryder's,
again? Oh fuck, who's that? Alec Baldwin
from the original.
They weren't gonna bring Alec Baldwin back because he killed somebody.
He's just started shooting up the whole fucking set.
This is my one chance. I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm not again.
He's like, God damn it, this keeps happening. Fuck.
I can't control my actions. Where's Bruce Lee's kid's name? The one that got killed on the crow?
Brandon.
Where's Brandon Lee? I want to shoot his ass again.
Was he? Who even shot Brandon Lee?
Just someone who was a stunt person. They had a gun that was supposed to have a fake bullet in it. Turns out somebody put a real bullet in it and fucking shot him. Yeah, it was fucking No, it wasn't a real bullet. It was a fucking.
They try to make their own blanks because they didn't go buy blanks. They try to convert real bullets into blanks.
Yeah, so it's like, what the fuck?
The bullet they put in it wasn't necessarily a full round or anything, but it's still like produced a projectile, and I'm pretty sure they shot him at like point blank range in the chest or something.
Dude, I swear to God, the person who that's just really fucked up. I know I was making a joke about it, but the person who came up with that idea, as soon as that fucking happened, before he got hauled away for jail for being a fucking retard, people should have surrounded that motherfucker and just started fucking mass whooping him with belts. Just beating the piss out of him. It's like, you stupid motherfucker. This is what it feels like to be fucking stupid. How do you realize that? Like, golly damn.
He not only killed Brandon Lee, but he also cursed the Crow franchise to put out nothing but garbage movies after that.
Yeah, do people like this new one coming out, or I don't know?
No. People are like dogging it. They're like, why does it look like Jared Leto's Joker is like the new Crow, or like why is Tekashi 6ix9ine the new Crow, and why is Machine Gun Kelly the new Crow? Basically any like tatted up douchey looking character.
And he looks
the new Crow.
It looks pretty fucking. It's like, what if like Papa Shango was white and anorexic? That's what he looks like. But he has like hair. So it's like, dude, they're remaking shit. Sometimes people like the legacy sequels are an okay idea. The remakes are not so much, because they don't want to be a shot for shot remake like they did with like the original Psycho in '98, because that's no originality. But if you change it too much, people don't like that. So it's so hard. Like, especially when you got so many years. Like, I know there was multiple Crow movies after the first Crow, and this is like, it's probably like 10 years since the last one, but everyone just remembers the first one, so it's like, oh, it's like over 20 years. It's so crazy. But it's like, it's really hard to like pull off a legacy sequel. Like Psycho 2, we've covered that in the archive. That did it beautifully, and that came out 23 years after a fucking classic movie. And they still pulled it off, even though they got bad reviews for like, why does this just exist? Like, no, some of this shit just does not need to exist. They're trying to cash in on the IP to continue the film rights so they can hold on to it. Usually that's what happens. You make a movie just to like extend your film rights. That's why like Sony puts out like Spider-Man movies to a point, just so they can extend the rights out, because they don't make movies for an extended period of time. It goes right back to Marvel or some shit. And for Friday the 13th, here's some really stupid news on that. Sean Cunningham, who is the owner of Horror Inc., is the owner of majority of the rights for Jason, said at some HorrorCon that he was at last week, said that, well, studios really don't want to put too much money into a movie they don't know is going to give them a return on it. and it's going to be at least 3 years before we can make another Friday the 13th movie and all this other shit. First and foremost, if you put out a Friday the 13th movie, somebody made a good point. It's going to make easy, if it's done well, $250, $300 million. Not going to have a fucking problem hitting that number. Only problem is you have two people that have to agree to share the rights. New Line Home Cinema, which is owned by, guess who? Warner Brothers, has to pay these people, and they don't want to fucking do that. It's fucking stupid. And Cody sent me a tag of a new Twitter account called the Jason Universe. And it's like, they can't even call it the Friday the 13th universe because fucking New Line Home Cinema owns that fucking name. I mean, this is like where we're at with this fucking thing. I don't understand why they're just squatting over this fucking franchise and not doing anything with it. No one's going to want to see it in the future. Like, I truly feel like it's missed the window. After, like, 2018's Halloween came out, that's all people talked about. Man, I'd love to see a new Friday the 13th like this. This is fucking great. And then Halloween Kills, Diminished Returns. It's a Friday the 13th movie with Michael in it. And then Halloween Ends, wherever the fuck that was, happened. It's like, okay, this craze has completely died down. No one gave a shit about the fucking, the Omen movie. The Omen. What's that possessed bitch? Cody?
Exorcist.
Yeah, The Exorcist. No one gave a shit about that. Some of these movies, people
apparently the first Omen made a lot of money though, and it was pretty good. Which was Omen? Like a prequel or something, sequel maybe to the original Omen film.
Are you talking about the one that he did?
The first Omen, the one that it's called The First Omen. It came out this year.
Well, who did that movie?
I can't remember.
Is that connected to the new Omen movie at all?
It's connected to The Omen, like the original film, The Omen.
Oh yeah,
from like the 80s or whatever.
You know what? Vertical response, 81%. Not a very good deal. I don't want to watch something that's going to freak me out when I'm home alone and shit. So, dude,
well. Maybe I shouldn't pick what movie I was going to pick next.
Well, I'll just miss that episode. It's fine. What movie are you going to pick? Aren't you going to start Friday Nightmare on Elm Street?
Well, I'm going to line it up to when if I start it for my episode after you do Friday the 13th Part 3, then it'll kind of line up perfectly for us to do Freddy versus Jason.
Well, no, hold on, Freddy. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you got a New Nightmare. So you got 6.
Yeah, so
you're gonna have to line it up. You're gonna have to pop in by like Friday the 13th or 5.
No, so if it's Friday 13th Part 3, and then Nightmare on Elm Street. Friday 4, Nightmare 2, Friday 5, Nightmare 3, Friday 6, Nightmare 4, Friday 7, Nightmare 5, Friday 8, Nightmare 6, Friday 9.
You said Nightmare 6 twice.
Nightmare.
You just said Nightmare 6 twice. Yeah.
We'll talk about it after that.
Well, I mean, we gotta fill up time anyway. I mean, this was fucking care. So.
Well, I mean, I was gonna wrap it up. I mean, we're an hour and 40 minutes.
Your mom's gonna wrap it up. So.
With a condom.
Sometimes I wish she did.
Damn, Cody. Oh, you talking about your sister or you?
Me.
Oh, Jesus, you had to go fucking emo. Like, Cody, he's like, you can grow up and not be emo. You can't take the emo out of me, though, because my hair's still black and long.
Anyway, I don't need to ask if we recommend this movie, because I'm pretty sure the answer is no for everybody, right?
Well, so, Cody, I would recommend this movie. I would recommend this movie, Cody, if I wanted to sabotage somebody's love of Tim Burton. So,
okay.
Yeah. And you're like the second person in my life that's been in my life that like Tim Burton movies. So it's like, and guess what? Every person likes the Tim Burton movies. Wears a lot of black shirts with blue jeans. Wears a lot of black eyeliner, and was gothic at one fucking point. It's like, dude, just fucking stop. Ugh. So, anyway. Yeah, I don't recommend this shit. This movie fucking sucks. Like,
you don't recommend it, Owen?
No, not really.
Okay.
Like, there's a few movies we had that we didn't have. Like, it was just a waste of time. And I can't remember, like, there's
this and Freddy Got Fingered.
No. I can't say that about my boy Freddie, man. That fucking movie rocked. I think I like that movie more than you guys did, and I think Alex said in the group chat was like, "It really doesn't surprise me." I'm like, "What does that mean?"
You know what?
And maybe Clerks.
Yeah. I liked Clerks. I liked the
wasn't that
first
bad.
Clerks.
I don't, but we talked about that. If y'all want to hear my opinion on Clerks, go back and listen to our episode.
All
on
other
Clerks.
Kevin Smith movies. Well, I've never seen Mallrats, and I hear that's good. But all other Kevin Smith movies are like pretty lame, though.
I liked Halloween Ends. I think we universally hated. I know Alex hated it. I hated it. You hated it, Cody, and Owen didn't watch it. Lucky him.
Yeah, I talked with somebody I work with, and like he told me what happens, and it was like the dumbest sign of shit ever.
Oh, it is 100%. Like again, someone else changes the character's identity or acts like, let's do a substitute and see if like people like it. It's like, this is fucking stupid. I get so irritated with that shit. You do that the last fucking movie, and now we're not even gonna get another Michael movie. At some point, we're gonna get like a fucking TV series. Like, how does that work? I don't know, dude. People just don't fucking understand. Like, you have one idea, like, oh, we're gonna make it into a trilogy. You don't have that kind of thing. So, because Evil dies tonight. I don't fuck it.
Evil dies tonight.
The next movie of this podcast, I hope, will be the start of something really fun. At least I don't think this isn't highbrow entertainment. I love these movies. Some of them are not particularly good. Some of them have a lot of nice titties. A lot of them, most of them, have all blood, and there's a lot of pot.
We like titties.
Yeah, so, my next movie, finally, starting what I started 3 years ago, we're going to do Friday the 13th, Part 2. And, like I said before, and multiple rants I've done, it's weird that you have a film franchise where the first movie is, like, second to worst. It's just weird. Like, you don't have things that are that successful that go on, and the first movie end up being like not the best. And Owen did not like the first Friday the 13th. Cody was kind of mixed, like, yeah, it's okay. And me rewatching was just kind of bored. I mean, I liked it when I first saw it. There's nothing that draws me to it, but this is where shit gets real. Throw out your timelines because some of the time in these movies does not make sense, but it's there. Fuck it. They put $25 million in these movies and made a bunch. So, yeah. So Friday the 13th Part 2. And Owen, sir, go ahead and pick your movie now so go ahead and get prepared for a month from now.
Yeah. I don't know. I might watch Fury Road, but I'm not sure. I might change it.
Everybody says that Furiosa is really good.
Yeah. I've heard people say that it's better than Road Warrior, but I don't know. I watched it once when I was like 16 or whenever the fuck it came out.
No, it would be kind of funny if you picked that for us to finish the what do you call it, our Mad Max shit. Because I tell you what, I told like 3 or 4 people, like, dude, I watched Mad Max 3. I told my dad, and he goes, "Is that the one with Tina Turner?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I never watched that one." I'm like, "Yeah, don't. It's not good."
Yeah.
Like, first 25 minutes, and you can just turn it off. Like, I always thought Owen was exaggerating. Like, oh, when the kids come on, it gets annoying. No, he was 100% correct.
Yeah, it's like literally as that scene happens, you're immediately like, okay, no, I'm done with this shit.
100%. Just heard somebody yelling. I don't know if they're inside my apartment or they're outside. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut off my thing. So, everybody, thanks for listening. Finish him.